This week in 1953, Jet magazine featured this demon in its crime section. It is not about a celebrity or politician or anyone of significant historical importance, just a plain old everyday civilian like you and me who got himself involved in some hot mess. Well, maybe he wasn't exactly like us. I'll read the story, add my commentary, and you can decide if he was like you. Let's get into it. But first, if you like these videos about the most scandalous people from yesteryear who make the hot mess history with Ty Said What Ty Said channel a time capsule for the culture, subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can know every time that I upload one of these videos or every time that I live stream, and comment "I subscribed" in the comment section so that I can say hello to you. Now, on to why you are here. Today's story comes from this issue of Jet magazine dated June 4th, 1953. The article is titled, "Handyman Gets Life for Slaying White Socialite." And it reads, quote, "A 29-year-old handyman was sentenced to life imprisonment in Bridgeport, Connecticut for the first-degree murder of a white Westport socialite with whom he began having sex relations shortly after he went to work for her. A jury of 7 housewives and 4 men deliberated for nearly 4 hours after hearing testimony of a month-long illicit romance between William M. Davis, Jr. and 30-year-old Mrs. Penny Coates Evans. They found him guilty of knifing and strangling the woman in her $20,000 home after an argument over wages. Pleading temporary insanity, Davis declared that he attacked his employer when she told him her love was his pay for his handyman chores, then threatened to call police to make a charge of rape against him." End quote. Now, Jet could only dedicate a paragraph to this story, so there are a lot of important details that they left out of this story. This case was a pretty big deal, so there were several news articles about it. I'll share some critical details that were left out of this quick Jet story that will help us fill in some gaps. One of the first things that this Evansville Press article discloses is that Penny Coates Evans was a former actress at the time that she met her killer. Aside from the stark differences in their socioeconomic classes, that could have been part of why the story got so much press. Jet mentioned that Penny threatened to make a false rape accusation against William Davis, but neglected to mention that her body was discovered partially nude and that he was originally charged with raping her that night. Her husband was Montgomery Evans, heir to a banking fortune. He was called estranged in the article, and it sounds as though Penny had been carrying on like a single woman in his absence. Her 2.5-year-old son was crying in a nearby room when the police arrived, so one can only imagine that he was at least an ear witness to his mother's final moments. Now, I will say that another article said that when police arrived, he was playing, but either way, the child had to have been scarred, losing his mother at such a young age. William Davis, the killer, was married. He had confessed to his wife that he killed Penny Coates Evans. His wife's name was Dolly. She was a babysitter who also worked for the victim, Penny, from time to time. William told the police that before he killed Penny, they had each consumed a pint of liquor. He also told police that he would frequently dine with Penny at her home, almost like dinner dates. The week before he murdered Penny, he and his wife both had dinner with Penny at her house. It was never explicitly stated whether or not Dolly knew that her husband was having an affair with his employer. This news article in the Paris News, Paris, Texas that is, shared these details. Penny was a native of Waco, Texas. She is called attractive, while William is called a Negro ex-convict handyman. And fairly enough, I'm not suggesting that he should have been painted in any kind of positive light. I'm always just interested to see the wording that older news articles used to describe black people. Also disclosed in this article is that Penny's husband, although estranged from her and almost certainly ashamed that his wife had been having an affair with a black male, still arranged her funeral. This article from the Daily Times reveals that William Davis may have been responsible for another rape slaying. Reportedly, a man by the same name, which is a fairly common name, but nevertheless, a man named William Davis quit his job at an Oklahoma City hotel right after a woman named Ellen Toone had been raped and murdered at the hotel. I didn't look into that case, but his wife, Dolly, said that there was no way that her husband could have murdered Ellen Toone because he had never been to Oklahoma City. And this story also reveals that although Penny's husband did plan her funeral, he did not attend it. He contacted her parents as part of his planning, but they did not attend either. I am sticking with my theory that there was an extra layer of shame because she was sleeping with a black man, and a poor one at that. What are your thoughts? Why do you think that neither Penny's husband nor her parents showed up to her funeral? Let me know in the comments section. And finally, this daily news article about the guilty conviction reveals that William Davis had been a singer in church before he turned to his criminal ways. Now, the whole time that I had been combing through stories about this situation, I was under the impression that William Davis had been working for Penny Coates for months, possibly even years, but I was so wrong. Let's just say that William and Penny became friends really quickly. We know that they had been carrying on this sexual affair while he was working for her. But what is disclosed here lets us know that they had to have started having sex right away, because from the day that Penny hired William until the day that she died, only 3 weeks had passed. Here is also where the rape allegation looks iffy. If William's testimony is to be believed, the sequence of events that night went as follows. He and Penny had drinks, then he and Penny had sex, then he and Penny argued over the money she owed him, then he killed her. This is what was written in the newspaper about the argument. Quote, "The slaying," he said, "came during an argument over his wages. He said Mrs. Evans told him, 'I just got my pay,' and that when she threatened to tell police he had raped her, he lost his reason and choked her with the cord of an electric clock." End quote. So again, if we believe his story, that explains why her body was found the way that it was. And it also goes along with Penny telling him that sex was his payment. So maybe he didn't rape her. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Whether he did or not, we know that he killed her, so he was no angel. He was facing death by electric chair, but his sentence was commuted to life in prison. Penny's husband didn't show up to her funeral, but after Teddy Pendergrass died, his wife did show up to his funeral. Things only went downhill after that. I published a video about that story that you can see here. I will also leave a link to it in the description box. My sources for this story are Jet Magazine Archives, 1953, Evansville Press Archives, 1953, The Paris News Archives, 1953, The Daily Times Archives, 1953, and Daily News Archives, 1953. If you want text notifications so that you can get a text 15 minutes before I release a video or 15 minutes before I live stream, simply send a text to 786-632-2135 to let me know that you want text, and you will get an outgoing text message 15 minutes before I have a new video release. If you have a business, product, service, YouTube channel, or social media account that you would like to promote on my channel, email me at tiwan@tisaidwhattisaid.com to get rates for advertising on my community tab, my live streams, and or my edited videos, just like this one. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Ty Said What Ty Said channel. Please leave a thumbs up and comment so that we can get a discussion going. And share this video on all of your social media, especially your Facebook. That really helps me out a lot. And subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can know when my next video is ready for you. And if you don't like what I'm saying, but you love it, feel free to hit that applaud button just below your video screen there and send me some
donations.
Yeah, baby. See you on the next video.